In this video, I'm going to be talking about why can a computer boot a flashed ISO off a USB but not a copy and pasted one. Let's say you download the Ubuntu ISO file and you copy and paste the file into a flash drive, and you flash the ISO file onto another USB drive. You shut your computer down, restart it, hit F12 and enter the boot menu, and you see the thumb drives, one with the copy and pasted ISO file and the one that's flashed. When you try to boot the copy and pasted ISO file, nothing happens. When you try and boot the flashed ISO file, the operating system boots up correctly. Why is that? What does flashing do that copy and paste doesn't? Answer: to make a disk and not just a USB drive bootable, it needs to have a bootable flag set in. These metadata bytes, and in these metadata bytes, it needs to have a boot partition. The flashed ISO creates a bootable drive, whereas a copy and pasted ISO does not. Flashing creates a disk image of the ISO file, and the USB creates a partition table, boot sector, and file system that makes the USB bootable. Just copying won't give it the boot sector and information stuff. So what does that mean? Essentially, it means that when you flash a USB drive, when you take an ISO file that has an operating system and you flash it to an ISO drive, to a thumb drive, what you're doing is you're creating a physical media that the computer can recognize. You're creating a bootable drive, right? Because it has a boot partition, right? But if you were simply just to copy and paste it, it wouldn't have a boot partition, and that is essentially why. It's basically, when you take an ISO file and you flash it, you are transforming you're transforming that ISO file into a physical media disk, right? You're taking all the bits and all the bytes of that ISO file, and you are putting it on the USB in a special and particular way, that where the motherboard of your computer can then recognize that it's a physical disk, and understand, hey, that it has a boot partition, I can now boot this, right? It boils down to, when you flash it, when you flash an ISO, you are arranging that information in a special and particular way. When you copy and paste, you are not, right? That's what it boils down to, is that the motherboard can understand the flashed, when you flash an ISO file, you are creating a bootable drive, whereas if you copy and paste the ISO file, you are not. That's essentially what it boils down to, and I'll talk about it more in the next video.